Hi, my name is Remie Longbrake, and thank you for watching, and welcome to Legends of Liberty. So, this is my video and introduction to 8 steps to success and abundance, and I will be sharing those with you today briefly, but by all means I do want you to look over the document, and this is a precursor to access to the Facebook group, but it's really designed to get you thinking essentially what you can do to improve your situation, whether it be through your finances or through your wealth or through your well-being. Like I said, my name is Remie Longbrake. I'm a wealth and life coach with Prosper Pathways. I am the founder, and essentially what I'm about is helping people be their greatest versions of themselves that they can be. It's a really powerful, very rewarding position, and I love to be able to have powerful conversations with people. And that's exactly why I'm here and exactly why I do what I do. Of course, it wasn't always this way. Had a lot of challenges growing up, all through different levels of adulthood and precursor, through the childhood. And a lot of that was based on the financial aspect of not being in abundance. I should say it was a lot of struggle. I'm not blaming anyone in particular. Just the family environment. We're always worried about money, and that's a lot of it is, I find a lot of us people are in that same situation where we really do struggle, and we try to hoard, every dime we can, and we penny pinch, and that's good to a certain level, but that really doesn't allow us to achieve greatness if we're always thinking that we need to save and be able to hold on. It's hard to spread our own wealth, our own knowledge, and our positive well-being if we're being selfish like that, and really looking after ourselves. And I am a man of God, and I'll be the first to say that. And if you're not, that's okay. I'm not judging you by any means. All welcome here. But essentially, I'm here to grow a community of like-minded individuals that we can help each other build and be great in our own lives and our relationships to ultimately be able to serve others, for a greater purpose. And that's precisely, why I'm here, precisely why I'm on this video. So hopefully a lot of you can relate to that. I look, forward to sharing more information and sharing stories with you, getting to know you better, and for you to be able to get to know me better, and build rapport, and be able to share successes and even trials for that matter. I mean, there's always going to be bumps in the road, so to speak, but it's about overcoming those and be able to identify them and growing from those opportunities that really makes us who we are. So I do want to share these steps with you. So I am very excited to go over these. So if you want, I invite you to really read through the document in full and take notes. And I do invite you to have a conversation, and we can actually work through these together throughout that conversation to highlight some of these that we may feel be most important. So ideally, it's just to get you thinking in a positive mindset and build a momentum in your own life. So essentially, these 8 steps here are the ones that I came across through my own journey, through my own challenges, for that matter, through my own life. Like I said, a lot of it has been about the money aspect, about health and that too, of course, and with loved ones and relationships. So a lot of this really does apply, and it comes full circle in our own life. So essentially, the first step is to really examine, where you're at now, what your current situation is, and and that's multiple steps. It's through your personal life, through your relationships. If you're married or not married, it's okay. But be able to really evaluate where you're at in those relationships, also with your kids, of course, and your professional atmosphere. We all come from different backgrounds, I'm sure. Have coworkers, evaluate those relationships, evaluate the job, what you're doing. I mean, are you even happy doing that? So, I mean, I know a lot of us, we start in these careers in our 20s, we go to college, and, we're excited about it, but once we really get into it, in our later years, it's like, this ain't what I'm supposed to be doing. And, if that's you, that's quite okay. That's exactly me. But it's about just understanding, where we're at with each other, and be able to motivate ourselves to do more and understand where we're at and where we want to be. So that's really key. And like essentially, what do you where you're at now, but also where do you want to be in the future? And that's a big question. That's a hard question. I mean, it's certainly been for me, but it's really important to really to narrow that down. When you talk with your family, with your spouse, with kids if they're old enough, and just help identify and say, hey, these are some things that I would like to accomplish, in my life, and it can kind of be related to a bucket list, of things that you want to do. I mean, a lot of people have bucket lists, and some take it more serious than others, but I say, why not? If that's something you want to do, go do it. If you want to go take a trip, go take that trip. Work for it, but don't be realistic. In those. I mean, if you have your retirement, I'm not saying lower your retirement, for instance, by all means, but take the initial steps to be able to fulfill those things. Because I've had conversations with many people, and I don't want to say there's a lot of regrets, but in a lot of cases there are, essentially. I want to do this, and that's something I do not want to be. And I'm sure you may be the same boat as when you're on your deathbed and saying, man, I wish I could have been a better father. I wish I could have been home more. I wish I could have had more education. I wish I could have helped more people. I wish I could have took those trips I wanted to take. I want to be able to say, I'm fulfilled. Lord, I'm ready. I've done what my purpose is in life. And that's, I believe, a lot of ways. I mean, we have that, our own being, and when we get to heaven, like I said, I'm a man of faith, and we get to heaven, we come across the person that we could have become. And I do believe that, and I don't want to have those type of regrets myself and saying, oh, wow, I could have done all this. We only have one chance, folks, and it's about doing, whatever it takes. And I really, really want to take the initiative and be able to put that perspective in your own thoughts. So, and be able to push you a little bit. So, I mean, I've been pushed myself. I'm very grateful for that, and I'll be able to help people be able to do the same thing. So, and that's something I'm very passionate about, if you can't tell. So, but also too, it's decide like what you want for your abundance and your success. Just say, well, I want to be rich. Well, you need to get very specific, and it's okay being rich. I mean, rich is not a dirty word, no matter who you hear it from. I mean, I was always given that impression that, well, money don't grow on trees, or the rich, take more than what they deserve. Well, yeah, that's true in some circumstances, but, being rich or have abundance of money, for instance, provides with options. That way you can do things. I mean, if you're broke, it's hard to help people. I mean, yeah, it's great if you can help people with your church. It's not impossible, but how many people are you helping, on a one-to-one basis? And if you have a lot of money, you can help millions of people, possibly. And that's the type of level that I think at. So, and those are the type of people that I really invite, to really join me is those big thinkers, those big dreamers, and together, I mean, there's a lot of need out there, and we can make a big difference, and that's really what I want you to think is be able to think those big thoughts, but also really niche them down and get specific, in your health, what you want your health to live, to look like, what you want your wealth, to look like. Put a specific number on it. And do that in a multi-step plan. Do a 5-year plan, a 3-year plan, have a 6-month plan, and, even further out, obviously, and work with your spouse, work with the family, and say, hey, these are my goals, what are your goals? How can together, how can we achieve these things? And by all means, hope, you include the community in that as well, to be able to so we can support each other. I mean, that's really impactful, and it really makes a difference if you can really focus, build what they call your vision, so to speak. And we can always have a conversation, and I'll share more information about trying to really narrow that down, because it's super important to keep you motivated. It really is. And it's bigger than just having just like a generic goal. Like I said, you really need to be super specific in this. So, So, and if you don't have that already, you'll get there. So it does take time. So be patient, but not so patient that you're going to be putting it off. So that's the key too. So, but also too is something that you want to consider when you have this, when you put this vision together is, look at your current budget and how you can start to implement that type of procedure. Look at the household budget, and I've had some conversations, where there's overspending, to put it blunt, you're just overspending. You're trying to keep up with people down the street, the Joneses, they're evil bunch, I tell you. So it's not worth it, So don't do it for them, do it for you, because you want to be fulfilled in your own life. I'm not saying don't have fancy things, you certainly can, but keep it within reason. For one, is really important. That way you don't break yourself, and break your long-term vision. That way, you're unable to grow at the type of level that you want to. So that's really key. And really on your budget, hopefully you have one already, but if you don't, we can also talk about that, but get very specific, cover, all the household income coming in, all the household income going out, and hopefully that's the difference is a positive type difference. But you also want to start talking about, if you don't already, like your retirement type, procedures. Also want to talk about your, like investment type procedures, how to protect your assets. I know insurance can be a dirty word, but it's super important for families to have. It's a good resource nonetheless. So that's something, to really consider. And look at other type of investment streams. A lot of your biggest, most successful people, they're not depending on just one type of job, just their own career, for themselves or spouse. They have multiple types of recurring type revenue. Common theme is, rental type properties. You can do investments. You can, stocks, bonds. A lot of people have 401ks, which is fine. You just got to be careful because, you're generally not the person managing them. So you have to understand and trust these people and these companies as much as you can. But it's good to really have your hands on your own type of investment vehicles, whether it is rentals or whatever you want to do or look into doing. Another thing is, type marketing type companies or the gig economy. I know plenty of people that, extra cash for the weekends, but don't use that cash that you gain, to blow. Put that towards your reserve fund, and don't necessarily just keep it super safe, but invest it wisely. That way you can grow on your vision once you determine what that is. So that's really important. And also you want to determine, how much you're going to have left at the end of the month, how much you can have at the end of the year. But like I said, include all your expenses, all your taxes the best you can. If you have a business, that's wonderful. Congratulations. But look at the business assets too. Make sure it's making you money, and be able to evaluate that. If you have partnerships, that's fine. But evaluate the relationships with the partners and make sure that your vision matches the vision of the company too. That's really important. So, what all overall is left over, you want to be able to determine what that number is and be able to use that number for good. And if there isn't anything money left over, well, we can certainly have a conversation, and be able to see, what we can do to maybe save some money or to invest in different places to free up some money. Maybe, it's a big one, but maybe sell your house, downsize some, or move to a different community, where the house payment is less, the rent's less, so there's all kinds of different concepts, to look at it. Sometimes it can be complicated, it really can, but it's really crucial to be able to identify those and be able to make, the best vision, to help you get to where you want to be. So, and also, once you have where your current state is, you want to be able to identify, what type of income it's going to take, to get you to where you want to be, and looking at those goals on, a 6-month, increment, a year or 3-year, a 5-year, 10-year plan, and be able to scale that, and say, hey, in 5 years, we need to be at this type of level. Well, what's it going to take to get to that level, So again, that can be a complicated picture, but it don't have to be the picture that you do by yourself. Bring some other people into play that can help you, determine what you need to be. So that's really important. Um, and then also when you're building upon your success and your abundance skills, it's also important to look at your current skill sets that you're familiar with. Some you can probably name off the top of your head. Some maybe more hidden. I know me, for instance. I started out with computers, of all things, and although I found I was decent at it, I just it's not something that excites me. It's what excites me is the conversations. It's the people aspect. And growing up, I was really shy. And I never thought, I would be, any good at that. But I started getting into sales, and I've really found a passion with that, and just having conversations with people. And I really like the interaction more than anything. So I'm not saying that's your skill set. But you need at least help identify what those are. And that's something that, I definitely look with your friends, your family, your spouse, your kids, and be able to just write those strengths down. But also, identify some of your weak areas too, and some of those you may be able to improve upon. And of course, you and we can definitely have a conversation together or through the community too. So, that's really what it's all about. So, but that's really important is, to identify those skills, but don't just stop there. Build on those skills too. You definitely, I recommend, reading, reading a lot of self-help, self-improvement type books more than anything. If that's not you, that's okay. But it's a very valuable resource to help just build new skill sets within yourself and be able to learn from others. So I love reading anymore, and I didn't used to, I'll be honest. So I used to avoid the book like the plague. But anymore, I try to read every night. So, and also too, just audios. I listen, audios, self-help type audios too. Basically just a book in audio form. I listen to podcasts, and of course I can share different type names and stuff, on an ongoing date. And obviously I get to the gym, for my health, my well-being. Myself, I'm there almost every day. I try to get some sort of exercise because it's really important to really build on yourself, and really, yeah, I find if you don't get to the gym, or at least for me, if you don't, the day just don't feel like it's quite as good. So it has that much of an impact. So it is super important. Also, it's good to find a mentor. Not saying it has to be me necessarily, but find someone that has the type of success and the lifestyle that you like or that you may want to achieve, or talks the way that you do and thinks the way that you do, has some of the same visions, because that person can be really impactful in your life and can do a lot of good to help you excel exponentially. What may took you 10 years to accomplish, maybe you can cut that in half. I can't promise anything, of course, but those type of people in your life can really make a difference. So that's something I definitely, would recommend for you to do. So, and also, another step here would be using the power of imagery. And what I mean by that is typically the best state is in a meditative state. So essentially how I start every day, and every night, is like in a meditative state where I just really take time to just think about myself. I eliminate, as many distractions as I can. I don't touch the phone. I don't answer emails, before that time. Especially I do this basically as soon as I wake up in the morning. I stay away from all these distractions, and I just calm my mind. I take slow, deep breaths. It's not necessarily a super meditated state like you see on TV necessarily. I can always show you later point, but essentially it's just helping relieve the stress, waking up in a positive mindset. And for me, what I really try to focus during that time is not so much reflecting on the day before, because I don't really like to do that. I like to build on the successes that I've had, but also what I'm looking forward to the day in a positive light. So if there's a really good conversation I can have with someone for that day, I have a meeting planned, I'll focus on that. I'll actually close my eyes. I'll put myself in that moment, and try to think put myself in that moment, and really think of the conversations I'll have, the people that I'll be able to talk to at that given time. And when I come out of that type of experience, it motivates me big time. I'm like, yeah, I can do this. Yeah, and so can you. So I mean, I invite you, if you're not doing that already, to by all means, try that. Don't be perfect. Just start. Start a couple minutes and just see how it does, and build on those successes. So it is really impactful. So I think that's something you'll enjoy. Also, too, is something you probably need to look at is your environment. I mean, sometimes, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but there's a lot of stressors that we have, in life, just daily life in general, that don't always serve us the best interest. So it's really crucial to evaluate those in the best possible way that we possibly can. It could be with our spouse, with our kids, our coworkers, even our church environment. All these type of influences really affect our mind and our well-being overall. Not always our health, but it can long term. If you're put in those negative situations long enough, absolutely can. So the key is to eliminate as much of the negative that you can. I've personally been in some situations with some old friends that weren't quite as close anymore. Just because they just were nonstop negative type people, and I just came to a point where I was like, we have to talk. We got to do something to be able to change this, because it's not serving my long-term goals, and I shared my goals and what I wanted to do, and a couple of them I was able to kind of turn around, but there's been a couple that just kind of slowly kind of faded away, and can't say it's anyone's fault necessarily. It's just life does changes, and I'm not saying I'm super happy, with that moment happened. I'm not, but I feel positive where I'm at now, and I can't say about the other person necessarily. I hope they're happy, but to be able to identify all these different relationships in our lives, and how they influence us, and ultimately how are we influencing others. So it's really important to really consider all those different relationships. Another big one for me is trying to eliminate clutter, whether it's in my office, whether it's just laying around the house. I'm a lot better than what I have been, but I really strive to just clean up as much of the clutter that I can, because even the excess mess laying around, it puts a negative mindset into you. Especially if the kitchen's dirty or something like that, it's like, I don't want to do that, and then you go in the other room, and then you don't want to do anything else either. so it's really important, to just kind of clean up after yourself, or share tasks to keep the house clean, keep the office clean, keep your space at work clean. Especially if it's a messy office when you get, to work in the morning, guess what? You're going to be a negative mindset, right off the bat. So, if you get a coworker who's always complaining, that's the same type of situation. So you need to value all those areas. And for the coworker type situation, you have to have a conversation with them, have with your boss, say, hey, we need to do better. If that don't go from there, I'm not saying quit your job, but look at your options. I really am. And if you have your own business that's not serving you the best interest, you need to look at that as well. So it's really about making all these different changes in your life, and you'd be surprised. If you can eliminate a lot of those negative factors, it'll really make a difference for you. So, and also too, it's the type of energy. Like I said, it's the type of energy that people put off. Even at the gym, I've actually switched gyms just because the energy wasn't there. Even though it was a positive environment overall, I just, a lot of the same people and the workers, I don't want to be part of that environment. I'll avoid that at all costs. So, and sometimes you can't. That's very true, but, you need to do the best you can. So, and the next step for us would be to have trust in the universe. So this is a big one for me, and probably the most important, especially starting out. It's having faith in a higher power. For me, everything happens for a reason, and I honestly believe that. And there's a lot of good in life. There's definitely some bad too. But even in the bad situations, it's how do we learn from those? So and how and be able to reflect on those and say, hey, this is what I'm meant to learn from this situation. Good things. A lot of times we don't even reflect on those at all. We just take them for granted. But even in those moments when it's good, it's also good to say, hey, what did I just learn from this? How can I build upon this positive experience? And how can I help myself ongoing, and how can I help others with the same information that I'm learning? So that is really important. And also too is using affirmations. So essentially what that is I keep it very simple. Basically, it's just keeping yourself in a positive mindset. So for me, around the house, around the office, in the car, at work, um, so basically, what I'm doing is I'll even keep post-it notes, and I'll say, hey, you are great, you go champ, you're going to do amazing things. So you are a wonderful person, you have high energy. It's just reminding yourself when you come across those and saying, oh, I do have positive energy. Yes, and that's super powerful. Say, you come into the house and you had a bad day. Well, if you see that and you're saying, wow, that day wasn't that bad, and sometimes it takes more than one. I'll be honest, So I'll turn the corner, I'll go in the bathroom on the mirror, and I'll say, wow, I am great. I will do great things, and that picks your spirit up. And I tell you what's really impactful is having your spouse or having a friend write those, because you'll know that they wrote those, and do it for them too, by all means. That is, talk about powerful. Like, wow, that's the biggest of all. Not just writing yourself, but have someone else write that about you. That's great. So those are the 8 tips I have for you. So I hope they really bring value. So these are all tips that I've really have been a huge impact in my own life, and I wanted to share these with you. So I do welcome you to the group. I hope you'll get a huge value out of this, and about the information that I share, and as a community, and we can help build each other up in tremendous ways. And like I said, the purpose of the group is to be able to share and build upon positive aspects of our daily life, and that way we can help our communities, and ultimately help the world as a bigger picture. That's what it's all about, is not being so selfish, so self-defined. It's really about sharing and impacting others in the best ways possible. So I do welcome you to the group. Also, I would love to have powerful conversations with you on an ongoing basis. That's really fundamental, and how we can really help overall is just help you identify and look at these steps, and how you can improve. So please reach out to me. I'd love to have that conversation with you, and I know overall we'll go far. So I do thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day. God bless. All right.